Hello, lovely people of Facebook, of Twitter, and of YouTube. Hello from me, Stuart Duffy at Pink Saltire. Lovely to see you all there. And thank you very much for joining us for another live Community Matters chat, another discussion about what's going on in LGBT Scotland. So I'll introduce first. I'm Stuart Duffy, the founder of Pink Saltire. We're hosting these events so that we can try and get lots and lots of new voices from around Scotland talking about the services that they provide in the community. Now, this week's focus is obviously going to be around COVID and the coronavirus and the impact that it's had on people all over the country. Lots of the LGBT charities and the funded organisations are already providing lots of support, but there's a huge community effort going on from local organisations and communities all over the country, and we're joined by some of them today. So first up to introduce a wee bit about what they do is going to be Justin from Dumfries and Galloway LGBT+. So come in, Justin. If I click this button, you should be able to see and hear Justin. Hello, how are you doing, mate?
Good afternoon, Stuart. How are you doing?
I'm grand. Thank you for joining us, Justin. Tell us a wee bit about what you do with D&G LGBT+, and also about what you've been doing for COVID-19 in the community.
Yeah, I'm a support worker with Dumfries and Galloway LGBT+. So one of the many services we have there is we run a counselling and support service. So anybody who is in the LGBT community, whether you're a friend or ally, any kind of mental health support or that needs, they come to us as well. But also support with transitioning, support around your sexuality, so support around anything really. So yeah, we offer that. Obviously, it's a little bit harder doing face-to-face support in a time with the COVID just now. So yeah, we've been spending an awful lot of time looking at other ways of supporting how we do that. We've been fortunate enough to receive a little bit of extra funding from the National Water Community Fund and the Robertson's Trust to increase the support hours. So I was only on 2 days a week. I'm now up to 4, and that's to look at the kind of the mental health effect that COVID-19 is going to have on our community and especially the LGBT community. So yeah, we've been looking at social games, quizzes, chats, and looking at trying to take our regular meetups that we have. How do we bring that onto a virtual platform rather than face to face? So we're looking at the kind of short term to medium term and how we could support more in the virtual field, unfortunately, but we're also looking at how we can support people who are not connected virtually as well, because we know that everybody hasn't got the technology, especially in Dumfries and Galloway. We're a very rural and disconnected community by geography, but not by passion and by spirit. So yeah, we've got an awful lot of like-minded people who are willing to do the community stuff. So that's where our focus has been on just now, yeah.
And Dumfries and Galloway LGBT+ has been going for some time now. Tell us a wee bit about just your non-COVID work that you would normally be doing in the community.
Well, yeah, like I say, we've got our support stuff, but we do an awful lot with our volunteers as well. So we're a member-run organisation. We came in 2015. We started, so we have members who vote, and they guide us on what we want to do. So we don't dictate what people are wanting. So we're very much consulting with the community. We were originally set up as a more to support the kind of 50+, but that's changed now. We have a constitution that does 16. Anybody over the age of 16. Anybody younger than that, we would be looking at our partners at LGBT Youth Scotland. But yeah, anybody over the age of 16, if they want to come to us, then we can support. But yeah, volunteering opportunities. So recently we started a new service called Hi, How Are You? So this is a volunteer-led phone-in service. So not counselling or support, but just that touching base with people. So when the COVID-19 lockdown thing began, we looked at using this Hi, How Are You service. So that's where people can phone in and they can ask for support of something, what they're going to be doing at the weekend. So this was actually brought in prior to the COVID-19, but we've luckily had the support and the logistics set up to be able to do that. Was where people could phone in, look a little bit of advice on what's going on in their community over the weekend, or if they're looking for a little bit of support or advice, they would be signposted towards that. So what we have done in the COVID-19 recently period has been to phone up ex-clients of ours and then just give them that little phone call, 10, 15 minutes, by a volunteer, just asking them if they're okay, checking their mood, because it has been changing. It has been changing. I think it was quite a unique thing at first to be in lockdown, but the longer we've been in there, it is having a detriment on people's mental health. I feel it myself, and I think everybody else, if they were being honest with themselves, will be feeling a lot of changes in their behaviours and their moods, and it's natural, and it is natural, but we need to be aware of that, how it's affecting us. So yeah, so we're continuing to push on with that. And we were fortunate enough to be awarded on the 2nd of June the Queen's Award for volunteer service. So yeah, we're also Dumfries and Galloway. Yeah, so we've been in the London Gazette. So it's been published down there that we are getting this the award from the Queen, and we have some volunteers who will be attending the Queen's Garden Party at Holyrood next year, which hopefully shall be a physical event and not virtual.
Well, congratulations on the award, though, Justin. It's a fantastic achievement. I know you guys do a lot of amazing work throughout the year, not just for Pride or for any of the big marked occasions through the year, but you do a remarkable job. So stand by there. We're going to be going into some of those themes in a bit more detail in just a second. But now we're going to cross over to our friends at the new MATE organisation. MATE stands for Mutual Aid Trans Edinburgh, and I'm delighted to be joined by Kerry Rush and Chris B from that organisation. You should be able to see them all on the screen now. Hello, you two. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you very much. So Kerry and Chris, who wants to start off first? Tell us a wee bit about MATE and how it came to be, first of all.
What do you want to take this, or me, or shall I
do it? You start.
All right. So MATE sort of arose. Yeah, you're right. It's 2 months old. It's very newborn. It arose from sort of people were talking. A lot of mutual aid efforts have grown in the COVID situation. There's a lot of stuff going on in Edinburgh, and it grew out of discussions about people thinking that it would be good to have something specifically for queers and bi queers. So MATE was sort of set up with that in mind, and it's a mix of sort of queer and trans people who can provide specific support to other members of the queer and trans community, whether that's errands or picking up prescriptions or sort of signposting to financial advice. We're also, because one of our big focuses is also access to trans healthcare, because with the lockdown, a lot of sort of clinics have changed their services, and navigating that and getting support from the GP with any needs you have might be difficult. So we can help provide information with that because we're a group of people who know that situation and are very happy to help.
I'm really sorry. My signal is really patchy here.
That's okay. So Kerry, we were just talking about the roots of MATE and getting things started.
Mm-hmm.
If you can still hear us, what's been your experience of being a volunteer and helping set up the organisation and get the much needed relief and support that people need in Edinburgh?
So I would sort of steer away from the word volunteer, because it is mutual aid, and it's very much we're giving and taking, and it depends on our capacity. Like one day I might need help, and another day I might be able to give help. The same with all the members of the group. My sort of area has been mental health befriending, and also putting together the care packages, which Pink Saltire actually helped us with. Yeah, so mental health, I mean, the isolation, it's been 3 months now. People don't have access to mental health care at the moment because all the services shut down. Access to counselling and psychotherapy has always been difficult and limited unless you've got money, which unfortunately our community does not have a lot of that for various reasons.
And sorry, Kerry, I just wanted to come back in and ask about the the immediacy of your response. So there are a number of different organisations. We're talking to, Justin in Dumfries and Galloway. We're based in Fife, but there are lots and lots of services already in the big cities. Why was there a need for an organisation like yours to step forward?
I don't believe there was any trans and specific organizations working in this way, offering the things that we are. I could be wrong, Chris.
Well, I suppose there are like, a little bit of what you said cut out, Stuart, but you said about like how there's loads of things happening in cities and stuff, and there's more here as well. Is that correct? My understanding. So
yeah, that's right. So what else happened? There's lots of organisations already based in Edinburgh, and I'm sure some people living outside of the bigger cities would feel that you're very well served with services for the community, and they have very little. But actually, you found a gap there, a need that had to be filled, and you're using the community to come together with whatever resources you can to meet that need.
So that's totally correct, and a lot of it is like, we also signpost to a lot of sort of existing resources, like the LGBT Health and Wellbeing Helpline, for example, which is long established, based in Edinburgh, serves the whole country and things like that. However, nowhere was really the kind of COVID specific stuff, the kind of advice that we could give, the sort of solidarity as well. That was more just a bunch of, people in the actual community. It was more like, even if you could, and a lot of like the existing organizations have had to change the way they operate. A lot of it's working from home. So things like social groups have had to change and go online. But sometimes it's also difficult to get in touch because they're overloaded. So we're just in a well. And like the things like the errands and stuff, like no one's doing that. But sometimes you want someone who will like get you and not be transphobic, basically. So yeah, so that, like, you're totally right, and a lot of it is about connecting different services as well, but a lot of services have kind of had to like really smaller or just like completely shut down, so we're kind of there to fill those gaps as well in how we can.
We're going to get into some of the detail of what that fulfillment has been like for you in Edinburgh. But just before we do that, I want to bring in our guest from Aberdeen. Joining us now down the line should be our lovely DJ from Four Pillars. Hello, DJ.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good, thank you very much. We've just been talking to Chris and Kerry and to Justin about some of the work there in Edinburgh and in Dumfries and Galloway. You're up in the northeast. You have been established for quite some time. Tell us a wee bit about the work that Four Pillars would normally be doing pre-COVID.
Okay, so yeah, Four Pillars was established in 2016, and it's the local LGBT charity for Grampian. Grampian being Aberdeen, Aberdeenshire and Moray. We work with mental, emotional, physical and sexual health. So we kind of cover a broad range, which is great because we can tailor services to the individual need. We run various groups from Grampian Tea Folk, transparent groups. We've just started a new one called Inclusion, which is for LGBT parents or parents of LGBT children, and a couple of other groups that we run as well, support and social groups. And we have the LGBT hub based in Aberdeen, which has been open now just over a year.
And so talk to us about some of the COVID work that you've seen around the northeast then. Nothing LGBT specific that I'm aware of, and we had a chat about this earlier on in the week. How have LGBT people been coping in the northeast? Have they had access to the support that they require, or have you seen a number of gaps emerge?
So it's a difficult one to say. There's lots of charities in Aberdeen. I think we're one of the biggest cities for charities. And, there's been lots of COVID relief so food parcels, financial support, and stuff like that. Nothing, like you say, has been LGBT specific, where obviously as 4 Pillars we have stepped in on that and launched a couple of new services to help with COVID. So yeah, it's a difficult one to say whether people are accessing that service. I know we go on apps and stuff and talk to our normal community members, and yeah, there's not really a lot out there at the moment for them. A lot of people find it more difficult to reach mainstream charities, you know, food banks and stuff, because they fear of transphobia, homophobia and stuff like that. So yeah, we're kind of hoping to fill that gap for a lot of people.
And we talked earlier on in the week, DJ, because we are about to launch a partnership
Yes.
together to provide some of this kind of mutual aid and to be able to service some of those needs that LGBT people still face. You mentioned when we talked previously about you know, mainstream services being available, food parcels for shielding populations, you know, befriending services. We've mentioned some of the LGBT national services that are available. Where does the need come from for some of these extra facilities that we're going to be looking to provide from very soon, the end of this month?
Yeah, so I mean, I suppose it comes down to the fact that you know, Aberdeen or Grampian, you know, the northeast of Scotland is quite far away from the central belt, where a lot of the support, the packages, you know, the LGBT phone lines and stuff are all based in Edinburgh, and a lot of people up here feel like they can't access that as easily. So we have this week launched our own befriending service called Forever Friends. And that's again run by volunteers, so copying pretty much what everyone else seems to be doing, which is fantastic. So yeah, it's just an extra support. And I think, you know, it's none of us should be going into things and thinking we're providing this is fantastic. Nobody else should. I think we all need to work together in order to enable the community to reach whatever support they need. You know, we could all be offering the same thing, but you know, our volunteers might not click with the local people, and they might need to phone somebody down in Edinburgh, and vice versa. So it's good to have options basically for people.
It certainly is, and I think all of us would agree. I can see in the background everyone nodding along to what you're saying there about everyone trying to, you know, pull together and work as a community and use the resources that we have available to us. So let's just bring back all of our other guests. I think we should be able to see them all on the screen there. Hello, folks. So I wanted to get into a bit of a conversation about just the evolution of some of the services that you've had. You know, the services that we are doing here in Fife. I would say we waited a good few weeks. I think, I don't know how you all felt personally, but I had, you know, some real anxiety about, you know, what is a pandemic? How is it going to affect me personally? How can I continue to, you know, do any volunteering work? How can we continue to get the services out there that we do? And it was actually a few weeks before we actually got a plan together to say, you know, nobody else is going to come up with this. We're going to have to do something ourselves. We can wait and wait and wait, but we're going to have to act, you know, locally to do this. Does anybody else have similar feelings to that, and just kind of being stuck out on a limb without knowing where to go next, really, at the start?
So if you don't mind, I'll start with that. So 4 Pillars, we have the hub that was open 6 days a week prior to the lockdowns and stuff, and we kind of saw people coming in and the social distancing measures starting to emerge, and we knew that, you know, lockdown was going to happen, so we kind of started putting things in place, and that's to continue the groups and stuff that we were running. They're now online to make sure that the continued support was there. But a bit like you, we didn't really think about extending our services to new people and what that would mean. And certainly we all, I think, guessed that it would last for a short period of time, you know, 3 to 6 weeks. We would have been okay, get back to some sort of normality and go from there. And it's been 12 weeks now, so the mental health impact on that has been immense, and I think that's where all of us are now going, look, we need to do something, and hence this, you know, and all the various groups that have come up. So yeah, I pretty much agree. Right at the beginning we were like, it'll be all right, it'll wash over, no, it hasn't, and we've still got a long way to go.
And Justin, we talked briefly about some of the fantastic work that D&G LGBT Plus do prior to COVID anyway, but your service is completely transformed. I mean, you're doing prescription deliveries, you're getting out there with food, you're talking to people on the phone that really need support or are isolated. And it struck me when I was speaking to your colleague Blue a couple of weeks ago about the number of people, especially in more rural locations, we've seen, but it might be a different experience maybe from Kerry and Chris, is that there are so many estranged people in these more rural locations. They don't necessarily have the family around them that they can go and spend 3 months at mum and dad's or at grandparents. And we talk a lot about our rainbow family being our chosen family, people that we would choose to spend time with and be in lockdown with. But the further out you're spread from those urban centres, the more difficult it has been to do that, actually.
Yeah, definitely. And then you were thinking about it from your point of view and how you'd be affected yourself, and likewise, I'm sure all you folk have done exactly the same. When we take about it from ourselves, I don't see myself, I'm not exactly in the same vulnerable position as a lot of people, but we kind of take things for granted, like prescription deliveries and things like that. If you don't have a network of friends or allies or people like that you can confide in, which a lot within the LGBT community, whether questioning or identifying or whatever, it's a very different decision you need to make, and you might have to then maybe out yourself, you shouldn't need to. So yeah, we've had to think about that, and again, like being a member society as well, we've had a members organisation, we know there's a number of members out there who are not receiving our support or a counselling, but we know they're still in a vulnerable position. So rather than, they might not even be there asking for help, so we're now then thinking, well, we need to think about it from their point of view as well, and especially when we start to go out to the west of our region, I would certainly say there certainly isn't as much opportunity or infrastructure out there as well. So we've noticed that, but we've just recently opened up in the west. So we were actually created a new service out of the replicating our service in Dumfries out the west, but we can't do that now. So we have volunteers who have been actively getting our service up there. Without them, our service would not be running in the west. And now we've got an 80-mile divide. They live in our same region, and there's 80 miles between us. We can't support them. So we've had to look at different ways. And virtual's a great way forward, and we're certainly having to push forward virtually as well. But it doesn't tick every box. But going forward as well, we're also now starting to think we had a board meeting there on Tuesday night. We've got a new board because we've actually went through a special general meeting and stuff like that. So it has been quite exciting times for us. But we're actually now looking at what happens if this happens again. We don't want to be in the same position, and we don't want to leave our members or our clients in the same vulnerable position. So we're now actually going to be starting to look at how do we do this? Do we write this into our constitution, kind of digital support, COVID support, or lockdown support? So yeah. So I think everybody should be starting to look at there as well. Like, good that we're going to get back on our feet and stuff like that, but let's not be caught unawares as we were this time.
I think that's a really important point that you make. I mean, Chris, maybe part of the work that you've been doing, you can talk to us about trans and non-binary people's experiences, because they've already come through, months and months, if not, well, the last couple of years, attacks on LGBT rights and the whole GRA debate, has just been terrible for lots of trans people. And now we all find ourselves in the middle of a pandemic with no access to the usual services and seemingly, a rush to digitize everything when that leaves so many others behind. Has that been your experience with the Mate group in Edinburgh?
Sorry, can I just ask you to clarify the question? I think
Sorry, yeah.
Again.
Sorry. Yeah, so I mean, I'm just saying that there's, been a rush to digitize services, and that often leaves many, many people behind that are already marginalized. And trans people have gone through so much hell over the last couple of years with the GRA debate that, they're often already, marginalized and out of the loop on some of this type of work. Many people, certainly just not trans people, are not online at all, can't afford broadband access, don't have a laptop to access these types of services. Is that what you've found with some of your service users as well?
Yeah, so one of the things, because we were born when the lockdown happened, so like all of our services are advertised online. We decided against like physical flyers because that's obviously like unsafe in a pandemic, and a lot of our discussions have actually been how do we reach the most vulnerable and isolated community members who are the least likely to be on the socials, be in the networks that the posts are being shared in, and all that kind of thing. So like things like we appeared on BBC Radio Scotland a couple of weeks ago, and hopefully that will have reached some sort of listeners who might not tap into other networks that we're in, because you end up kind of like in almost in an echo chamber where the people know about the support and know how to find the support will be the ones seeing it, but the people who don't but who might need it the most won't. So we've been working on that a lot, and it's still a work in progress because yeah, it's just there is no easy answer. And a lot of that has been why we've been like spreading the word to other organizations who maybe have the links we don't, and are more established but might not provide exactly the sort of services we do. And I really, people have been talking about working together, and like it's important to have like as many different avenues as possible. And I think that's just one thing that Mate's been doing. It's like we're there if you need us, and also we're trying to find ways to make sure that you find out about us. And yeah, trans people are exhausted. This GRA debate business has not helped. And so even just like keeping going in the face of online attacks, people don't want to sit online all the time when they know they're going to probably see bigotry. So they might not see the help as well. And that's kind of fair enough. But, you know, we're here as well. And we all want to, you know, strive to love each other and all that kind of thing rather than have to deal with.
It's just become a lot more difficult to do via a screen right now, hasn't it? Kerry, I wanted to pick up with you. You've been providing some of those types of services. You have Saturday socials going. So tell us a little bit about Saturday socials and how that came about.
So just to be clear, Saturday socials is not necessarily connected to Mate. Obviously, I am part of Mate, but it's actually a project run through Positive Change Arts Projects, and it is for the LGBT.
Whoops, I think I've certainly lost Kerry at my end.
Frozen, buddy.
Certainly.
Yep, same here.
Hello? Am I back?
Yeah.
Hello?
You were back. Yes, we can hear you now, Kerry. Go on.
Am I here now?
Yeah, you're back.
What was the last thing I said that you heard?
Did anyone hear it? I'm not sure. Joking.
Yeah, just about the not being.
It's not technically a Mate thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so Saturday Socials was something that was born through the work I do under the name Positive Change Arts Projects, and it's a collaboration with a community member called Rally Wild, and it is for disabled LGBT plus members and our allies as well. You know, we need each other. So Saturday evenings at 7 p.m. till 8:30, a group of us meet. So far it's been the same faces, but we would love to have new people. We pick a theme, or I don't know, we do a craft along. There's always like something going on as well as having a chat. So there's no pressure to engage in conversation. If you don't want to, you can just be there. So this week will be 10 weeks. Really, it's just a supportive space to, I guess, to help with, I don't know, not feeling so isolated. Hopefully, boost people's moods, letting people know they're not alone. Yeah, it's been going really well, and I'm really pleased with the feedback and everyone who's been involved.
So I think we talked a little bit about.
Add something to that.
Go for it. Yeah.
I'm just thinking about I think the lockdown is a new thing for a lot of people, but for a lot of disabled and chronically ill people, the whole being at home and not being able to access stuff is like a reality that's been there for a while, and so the feelings of isolation will probably be doubled and tripled from those kind of like intersecting experiences. So I'm just like really bowled over to like see the work Kez and Rally have been doing, and I think it's really like super important for like helping like most vulnerable community members just feel like there's a space where you'll be understood and that you'll like have company. And yeah, it's not something that Mate runs, but it's the sort of thing that Mate support and like signpost people to. If people, we also like, one of the ways, like if people come to us going, we're struggling to find community, we'll be like, okay, here are some online events. Do you need support getting into these online events? Do you need support how to use video chat and stuff like that? So like, it's all very interconnected as well. That's all. I'm done.
No, I mean that's a really good point about services being interconnected. We've certainly experienced a number of individuals coming forward with immediate crisis needs, so that might be around food or hardship funding or whatever. But there's an ongoing conversation with that person, that individual, that client, however you want to describe them, as an organisation helping the community. Then you have a responsibility, surely, not just to provide what you can at that point, but ongoing. Then where's the other sources of help and support? Where's other sources of self-help? Where can you go and help yourself? A lot of people, of course, are in crisis. We understand that, but where else can people go to get that support? Because we're not always so good at coming forward when we need a hand, and it's great to know that there's other organisations like all of you and us out there. Justin, you had a point on coming together as a community, I think, as well.
Yes, so coming together as a community is certainly one that we like to focus on. I have background within community events as well, and I know that you get fun doing that there as well, but it is the actual being involved in things as well. So if you can be involved in things like in a community project there, the actual being part of that team creating things is also can have some really good mental health benefits as well. So we are fortunate enough, I don't know, fortunate or crazy is probably the word, is we're actually trying to arrange a Pride. Obviously, COVID-19 has really affected the Pride month for us, so we're in Pride, we should be celebrating, but it's not all glitters and colours as we normally have. So we're going for a virtual Pride. So we're going to try and bring our community together, but also further and wide. We've got UK acts as well as local acts. And on the 27th of June, we are going to be having an all-day event. Times are still to be confirmed, but it's going to start off kind of family, kind of activities, and we're then going to take it up to an actual party. So yeah, you can get the glitter and you can get the rainbows out, but in your house, and we're going to do it virtually, and we're going to do it safe, because 25 years of Pride in Scotland, it needs to be celebrated, COVID or not. It is certainly, we need to celebrate that. The times of equal rights, obviously, well, what else is going on in the world? We need to keep our voice out there as well, and just have some community fun. So we're going to be looking at being proud within our community and just getting as many people to do. So yeah, please extend that invite out to as many as your people as well, and organisations. Let's see what we can do across Scotland. Put a smile on the
That's amazing to hear, and it's very poignant given it's the kind of 25th anniversary since the first Pride March in Edinburgh. But there were a number of events before that. I was doing some research earlier on today, and things like Lark in the Park, and we had a couple of protest marches for against Section 28. And so Pride has evolved over a number of years, and it's great to see so many digital events coming up. But there's also that issue of how do people access that? How do we get people access to the internet, and people especially who are in digital poverty, how do they even access some of these services? DJ, you've been doing some work in your area in Aberdeen around a digital Pride. In fact, you held your Pride event a couple of weeks ago. You're one of the earliest in the Pride calendar normally. Tell us a wee bit about how your virtual event went, and what have you learned from that? What can you share with the rest of us?
Well, we've done virtually Grampian Pride. I don't even know how. It was kind of a bit of a whirlwind and throwing it all together and stuff. But pretty much it was the same. It was a day-long festival online. We've done lots of Facebook interactions. We had a little mascot, which was hit. The biggest hit. We called him Little DJ, Little Gnome. It was a big hit. Get a mascot. It's great. Just don't call him Little DJ. So yeah, we did that. And then one of our sponsors actually is currently running a kind of an FM radio station online, and they asked to get involved. So all our performances went over to Shutdown FM. So can't thank them enough, because that saved us a whole heap of trouble, because I've got no technology experience. I didn't know how I was going to put all this together. I was just going to throw people on live Facebook and hope for the best. And it turned out to be a really good event, because they got all the sound quality correct. They got, the whole setup was amazing. So it was good. I mean, we think we've probably reached between 1,500 to 2,000 people on the day, which I think for a first virtual Grand Prix Pride is really good. So we just grow from that.
That's amazing. Well done.
If we need to do it again next year, we will. Hopefully we won't. But then we're looking at, not everybody can attend Pride. So do we keep an online, thing going forward? We've now established that it's there. So, we can do it. So can we reach more people next year by doing both? Minefield, we'll all get there when we do. But yeah.
We will, and I think it's this year it's a shame because there were so many Pride events scheduled to take place. So I think at the last count there was something like 25, 26 different events, which is another record-breaking year for records here in Scotland around Pride and LGBT visibility. And I was on an earlier recording today actually talking about the history of Pride, and it's interesting that the majority of those new Pride events were coming from much smaller rural or island communities, having that confidence to step out, to walk down their high street or their main street with their flags in hand, and that opportunity is kind of been taken away from us right now, but we hope to be able to do it in other ways in 2020, and we'll hopefully be back together before no time again in safety, but for Pride again in the future. Before I go on, I just wanted to make people aware that are viewing that you can ask any questions of the panel. We're going to have a quick Q&A just before the end. Put your questions into the comment boxes on Facebook or on Twitter, and we'll be able to show them to the team here. Before we finish up then, I wanted to kind of go through some of the challenges, what the future is likely to bring. Justin, let's start with you in Dumfries. You've obviously had to adapt services. You're delivering them right now to people in need in the community. What does the next 6 months bring for you? Where are services likely to change and adapt as you move through into the winter period?
Again, it's going to be depending on the guidance that comes from the First Minister, I suppose, and the Scottish Government. Before we can we want to get back to face-to-face appointments and to be able to do our face-to-face work. It is okay being able to do it either through telephone or through a video call, but you do miss on that communication. And we do have some clients who are vulnerable, who are not wishing to engage in, suppose, support focused work. They're okay to be checked, kind of a wee check-in, make sure they're okay, but whether for family in their homes, not being able to have the privacy to be able to discuss the matters. So there is a lack of support getting out there. It's okay what we're doing, but it's not 100%. So we really need to get back to that kind of face-to-face, and also just because of our geography, actually get out and around our region. There's just so much. I mean, a 2-hour bus ride if somebody wanted to come to Dumfries, if they wanted to come in public transport. So it's the only sense that we actually need to travel out there as well. So yeah, I think just getting back to the kind of face-to-face stuff it is going to be a new normal. That's the kind of term that's getting thrown about there. But yeah, we just need to continue to make our services fit for purpose and as best possible.
And Chris, let's throw to you in Edinburgh. Your service was, started for this very purpose. Will it continue for months and months and months? Do you think there will be an end point? How do we continue to meet the needs beyond COVID for communities?
I can answer if you want, Kerry. I don't know if Kerry can hear. Oh, okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh no. Okay. So as you say, we were born out of the specific, lockdown needs and things, but it is going to be like a constant point of reflection. We are kind of taking every day as it comes, and I think to an extent that's the only thing anyone can do, what with the ever-changing nature of all this. We are talking about a meeting at the end of the month to kind of reflect on how we've been doing and where we're going from here, and that's still in the context of lockdown. And I would imagine we might decide down the line that we still want to exist, but our services and what we respond to might change. We might disband. It's really hard to predict the future, even harder than normal. So I don't think we can sit down and say this is what our long-term plan is, and that's all right. And we're kind of in that position that we can do that as well, because we're small and we're not a registered charity, and it's just a bunch of people giving and receiving what they can, what they need, kind of thing. And we're very proud of being quite flexible and responsive. So as things change, we'll change and evolve.
I think that's a really important point about being agile, actually, and I think that's something that has definitely been a benefit of this type of community coming together to discuss some of their ideas and how they've implemented some of the COVID relief work, but also the kind of plethora of different organisations that are based locally that aren't in that Hollywood bubble. Actually, there's lots of organisations that serve their local communities and know the needs of those local people much better as well. We've certainly found that here in Fife and in other communities around the country too. DJ, one of those challenges that you've faced has been around the future funding for your organisation. And I mean, we must have a plug for your huge mountain climb that you did in your own stairwell. Tell everybody about that, because you did a massive challenge to raise money for 4 Pillars just recently.
Yeah, so we wanted to put the befriending service together, and we needed funds for that. We applied to a couple of the fund givers, but we were unfortunately unlucky. So I had to take matters into my own hand, and I basically climbed the height of Mount Everest via my stairs. So I did it over 26 days. It was 124 times a day. And that's just counting the ups. I have to go down as well. So it was a challenge. But I mean, it was worth it. I think that we raised awareness locally, and the message got across as to why I was doing it. The fact that LGBT people in general have this constant uphill battle to get through life. So that's why I chose the stairs to do that. But we also raised, at the moment, it's currently sitting about £650, which has helped towards the befriending service that we've now got. So yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it. I wouldn't do it again though.
Once is enough. It's chill.
It's a fantastic effort. I'm not sure if your knees would agree, I'm sure, but you did a brilliant thing there, DJ. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. Okay, so folks, we've talked a lot about our own services, what's available, what some of the challenges are. Here are some questions from the participating audience. So we're going interactive. It's fully 1994. We're going interactive. So let's have the first question, which was from Colin Cooper, actually, and he's talking about, he's asking if services exist here in Scotland for parents and family allies of LGBT young people. Who knows anything about support for parents?
So one of the groups we've just started is called Inclusion, and that is for parents of LGBT children. So it's a brand new service, but previous to that we had Transparent, which is a parent group for people with or parents with trans children. So basically the new Inclusion group is an extension of that. So that's locally. I don't think there's anything else up this way, certainly nothing we've heard of. So yeah, but I don't know about the rest of Scotland, if anybody can shed a light.
Kerry, let's go to you. I think you said you had some contribution there around parenting.
That was Chris.
Oh, sorry, Chris.
I was just going to say, I think LGBT Health and Wellbeing, who have offices based in Glasgow and Edinburgh, but also kind of operate around Scotland, they have a couple of initiatives, and one of their groups is called Rainbow Families, which I do believe has a similar kind of intention of like, it's for, you know, parents and family allies of LGBT children, but also like families that are LGBT and things like that. So like, there's not necessarily an organization that I'm aware of, like the one that Colin mentioned, but there are certainly some like local group initiatives out there, which is wonderful.
Yeah, and I would just add as well, I have had this issue within support recently as well, and I think there's another charity as well as the Rainbow Families. There's another one, Mermaids. I think it's got quite handy resources as well for parents as well. We do a lot of joined up partnership working with LGBT Youth Scotland, where they would usually support or counsel the young person, and then we would support the parent, just so there was no conflict, and then we're dealing with the adult there as well. But also, I think the question was it specific to the US? I would certainly know in my experience as well, is just be aware, because some of the guidance within the UK and the Scottish side is different to the terminology and some of the advice that's coming out on the American side as well. But yeah, so that's the advice we could give on that.
Well, thank you very much for that, folks. We've got one other query. Well, it's more of a shout out, actually. So the lovely people at Our Pride Ride want to give their service a plug. So they've been on BBC Radio Scotland today, and they also have their first Pride Ride coming out, I think it's tomorrow, actually. So I'm going to share, with the magic of technology, this screen, which you should be able to see here. And this is some information all about their awesome Pride Ride. So tomorrow you'll be able to get information. You can go out on a socially distanced Pride Ride. All the information's here at prideout.co.uk. So give them a wee check, and we'll put some more information on the screen just before we end that as well. So folks, thank you very much. Tell us a wee bit about where people can find out more about you. So let's start off with DJ at Four Pillars.
Yeah, so we can be found at fourpillarjuk.org. So that's the FOUR, pillarjuk.org. We're also on Facebook, or all social medias, and that's the number 4 Pillars UK. So yeah, that's where we are.
Thank you. All right, Justin, let's go to you in Dumfries. It's like Eurovision, this, isn't it?
Really
Calling Dumfries.
No tactical voting, please. No tactical voting. Yeah, you can reach us on our website. We are at www.lgbtplus.org.uk. We also have a Facebook page as well that's all regularly updated with anything that's happening, and also sharing partner stuff there as well. So, yep. And there's phone, there's email, and all the other contact details there. So, yep, get in touch.
Fantastic, thank you for that. And then who wants to take the mate shout out? Kerry, do you want to do it? Come on, give us a shout out for mate.
So on social media, we are at MATEDINBURGH, which I think is very clever because the E is Edinburgh in mate. I cannot remember. I cannot remember the web address. Chris, do you know it?
It's matedinburgh.wordpress.com, and that's where you'll find out all the information about what we do and how to reach us. We have a dedicated phone number for like support requests, and also a dedicated email address where you can get in touch, and that's all detailed on the website. And we also, I think you just said the Facebook username. Our Twitter username is mate_Edinburgh as well. So we are covering all bases.
Well done.
Good to know. And as if by magic, all of that information is going to be available on our dedicated coronavirus page on pinksaltire.com. You've got the Scottish Government, Ready Scotland formal information. You've got links to the helpline, LGBT Youth Scotland's services, some information about us. We've got D&G LGBT Plus on there. We've got a new link for Mate. We've got some Thai campaign resources on there. Also, a big shout out to our colleagues at the Small Trans Library in Glasgow, doing some awesome work over there. They couldn't make it on here today, but they're doing a lot of amazing work. So the link there to their work in Glasgow. We also have Equality Network links there, and some other information that you may well need as you go through this current pandemic. So listen, from us to all of you, thank you for watching. Thanks to all of the guests that came on to share what you're doing in your local communities. Keep up the amazing work, folks. Thank you very much for coming along and sharing everything that you do. And we'll see you again next time on Community Matters. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Take care. Stay safe.